Side of this break, we are going to get to my conversation with Aran from First Class Horror. So stick around and don't go anywhere. Unless it's to gather up more people to listen to this conversation. That is okay. If you are not going to go get more people, then just stay where you are and keep listening to CSP. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back to CSP. I have a pretty awesome guest with me. He is the owner and curator of First Class Horror, which is I guess it's a horror website, and his name is Aran. And how's it going, Aran?
Very good, and I'm glad to be here. It's the first podcast, so excuse me if I'm not up to date with how this works.
Oh, no, that's cool, man. This is, let's see, this is my 64th podcast, and I'm still not 100% sure how it works.
Nice.
So
Nice.
We'll figure it out together. So,
Cool.
You're based in Ireland, correct?
Yeah, man, yeah. A small town in Ireland called Wexford. It's like, small town.
Oh, wow. Well, the first thing, whenever I get somebody on the line that's 4,000 miles away, the first most interesting thing I want to know is how's the weather over there, man?
The weather in Ireland in general is pretty horrible 90% of the time. We're starting to get better summers now, I think, with global warming, but
yeah,
for the most part, grey skies and not very hot.
Well, good to know global warming's good for something.
But it just makes the winters worse, so...
Well, this seemed like the perfect setting to speak with you because today is Friday the 12th, which, as you and I both know, is almost as good as Friday the 13th.
Yes, it's nearly right there. It's nearly the perfect.
Yeah, it's not quite as lame as Friday the 14th either, so perfect time to talk to you. And also, I'm a huge horror movie fan myself, and same with my co-host Ty, who isn't here today, but we look forward every year to doing our annual Halloween show, and I hate waiting, so it's cool to be able to kind of talk about some horror related stuff in September because I'm so excited.
Yeah. I know, I'm the same, and that's I think where the whole inspiration for doing the site came from was I was sick of only being able to talk about horror related things with people, near Halloween.
Right.
I wanted to build a kind of community where I could talk to people about it all year round, pretty much.
That's something that kind of we were going for at first, but then it was like, well, if we start a podcast just about scary movies and stuff, what if we open up the mics one day and we don't feel like talking about that? What if we want to talk about how pissed we are at our mom or something? So
yeah, I know.
So we just basically have a podcast that we talk about anything, but it's mainly about horror movies.
Nice. It's something that I don't think there's enough of, really. Things like that. I think things like podcasts are a lot more popular than people think, and especially about topics like horror. You've got the fans there. It's just nobody has the outlet to talk and chat and interact with other people.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, and especially, we're just two dudes here, and you're about 4,000 miles away, I'm assuming, and we can just sit here and have a conversation about whatever.
Exactly, that's the thing. People don't, and that's what I'm aiming for here with this whole thing. It's only it's not going very long, but I'm literally, I think, as far as I know, the only person in Ireland who has any kind of blog site, anything to do with horror. I have a plan for next year to do a horror convention in my small town. Now, it's not going to be a huge thing, but it'll be the first just full horror convention that's ever happened in Ireland. So it's
Oh,
like it's small steps, but like there's an end goal.
sure. Well, that sounds awesome. Do you have do you know of a lot of I guess readers of your website that are kind of around your area in Ireland?
I do, but I find still it's trying to like a lot of people who I interact with and a lot of people I talk to are, from England, from America, from Australia, and I still haven't hit the core people in Ireland because there is no, like, nobody wants to support, or hear about horror films or movies, or they just have no interest. Like, and it's hard to find, a place to get it out to everybody.
Wow, that's you know, I
Yeah.
I would just assume that, Ireland would have a pretty cool like, underground indie horror scene going on. I know that it seems especially like, Germany, they have their underground horror scene. I'm surprised, man, that that's the case.
Like, it is there. I think it's just trying to, like, pretty much break the market, trying to get people to notice that it's there. See, I think a lot of people I have spoken to from Ireland are still doing the same thing I do and interacting with people from overseas and not realizing that there's other people, close that are interested in the same things.
Right, and that's what the convention's gonna. Do you have a name for the convention?
Not yet. I mean, it's in very early stages. I'm actually like, well, the plan is, um, there's another convention coming up, and it's kind of like a sci-fi convention, and I've been talking to those guys about doing it with them because they have previous experience. So like, it's kind of it's all kind of up in the air, but hopefully sometime after February next year. I don't really know what's going on with it, but I mean, I hope it goes ahead.
Yeah, well, best of luck to you, man. Definitely keep me informed in that because I mean, even though I obviously can't travel, I will definitely shout out the word because
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it really does seem like there's no joking whenever it says right front and center on your website, you're Ireland's #1 horror website, and it does sound like that's the case.
I think number one. I think only because it's the only one,
Yeah,
probably.
because there's no #2. But hey, man, either way, that's still a plus for you, really.
Exactly, exactly. Like, but I mean, the other thing as well is like now it's only starting to come to fruition now, but like Irish like indie horror movies and stuff are starting to crop up quite a bit. Like
Really?
even where I'm from, we have like this like old like legend about the devil, and it's a place called Loftus Hall. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of it, and it's like it's this huge mansion pretty much out in the middle of nowhere, and like there's a story about the devil and blah blah blah. But like they made a movie about that in the actual building, and now the building is opened up for the kind of like a haunted tour. So like it's starting to get there now, but we're so far behind, with haunted attractions. Like Ireland has one haunted attraction, and it's in County Cork, and it's just one house. That's it. I mean, you guys have got haunts
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. Well, I live in St. Louis now, but I grew up in the the cornfields of Southern Illinois, and there were just around this time of year there were little spook houses or haunted trails that are set up by people that have there's no production quality. They just
hmm
set up some they wear face paint and shit and just jump out and scare you, but they're everywhere here.
that's something that, I mean, when I say it to people here who aren't, as passionate about horror and stuff like that as I am, or as people that I talk to from over here are, they kind of laugh and go, "Pfft, why would you do that? What's that? Nobody's interested in that."
Wow.
But it's something, yeah, it's something that I want to do because I know that there's people. I know that it's there. It's just that nobody has done it. I mean, even like now, in these terms and these figures are going to sound like ridiculously small to everybody, but even for that haunted attraction that we have, it's the only one in Ireland. It's one house. You go through it once. That's it. It's over. There's no. It's not like you know overseas where you've got these great events and huge, production value. And I think on Facebook those guys have got like 65,000 likes.
Wow.
Yeah, so like for over here, something like that, that's huge. I think last year alone, I think it was 60,000 people went through, which is like pretty big numbers for something, this side of the water.
Oh, absolutely, man. You would think that those would be popping up all over after people see those kind of numbers.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what's Halloween like in Ireland? Do you guys refer to it as Halloween? Is it very festive time of year, or what's that like?
Uh, it is for some people, I think. I think it's a very mixed, like even where I live, you could see it on the street. Some houses like mine, have got all the decorations. Everybody gets into the whole spirit and fun of it, the trick or treat inside, with the kids,
Hmm.
handing out stuff and blah blah. But then you've got people who just don't, people who won't answer the door, or people who just don't want to know, which is fine. But like, I think there should be more of an effort made. Like even things like I remember the first time I saw. I assume you guys have lights everywhere, like because I've got family in New York, and we spent Halloween there one year, and we went. Is it pumpkin picking?
Uh huh.
Yeah, like we don't have that here. That's non-existent.
So you guys don't even like set out pumpkins or anything like that. It's not even a part of the season, right?
Some people do, like it'll like you'll see them in like different stores. You'll see pumpkins you can just buy and you can do what you like. But there's no like things for kids. Pumpkin picking. You go pick your own pumpkin. It's like a thing.
Uh huh.
There's none of that. There's nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah, over here that's sort of it's become a tradition where like that's where a lot of couples go on like first dates. Like the girl will
Yeah,
drag the guy out to the pumpkin patch and we're gonna pick a pumpkin and it's gonna be fun, you know?
yeah, and like I think it's corny and it's whatever, but like it's something that, as you said, is like becoming tradition now, and I don't see why we're so far behind. Not just in horror, but with a lot of things, we're so far behind because nobody wants to take the step to do. Everyone talks over here about doing things, but never will never go and do it.
You kind of touched on one of the topics I wanted to talk to you about, basically the Irish horror like movie scene. I mean, are there any other Irish made movies that are of note that that come to mind that you would feel are worth talking about, or
Actually, made by Irish people or made in Ireland or
yeah, just like Irish made, that take place that we maybe wouldn't even have heard of over here in the States.
I guess one of the bigger ones was a couple of years ago. It was Shrooms. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I don't
I've
know if it was Irish made, but it was made in Ireland.
I have seen the cover of that.
I think the guy though, who I can't remember his second name, the director, it's Paddy something. I'm really sure he's Irish.
Yeah.
He's done a couple of movies as far as I know, but they're all Irish movies. I wouldn't say it's a notable movie because it's not that good.
Right.
There was another one which got huge hype over here and through like the European like festival circuit, which was a Citadel, I think was the name of it. And
Haven't heard of that one.
that one got a bit of hype over here. I think it's a long time since I've seen it now. It's like 2 years old maybe, but it's kind of as far as I know, like it's kind of like a psychological horror. It's not really like a slasher or a ghost kind of thing. How would I explain it? It's set in kind of like an apartment block in like a rough area, kind of like a hood or things like that. Apparently, it was called like a hoodie horror, so it's meant to be about like teenage kind of people using drugs and things like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
Like,
it's about this mother who's like a widow and she's trying to like keep her kids safe and stuff like that. It was okay, like, but again, there's not that many.
not,
There's not that many people that go and do it.
okay. So where did this obsession with horror movies start? Can you remember what your first, horror movie was that you watched made you fall in love with the genre?
Probably two, and one of them isn't even a horror, but I think it's the reason that I became so obsessed with like things that were disgusting. And at the time, to me, it seemed like the scariest thing in the world was Gremlins.
Okay. Yeah, man.
I remember being young and, say dad or whoever was watching movies on the TV at night, and I'd want to stay up late. And I remember watching Gremlins one night, and I don't know why it terrified me to the point where I had a fear. Like, I wouldn't watch Gremlins till I was like 17, 18. I didn't watch Gremlins. I didn't like it. I didn't want anything to do with it. And like, I don't know whether that fueled it, but Probably the one that fielded the most was Candyman. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, Candyman really, some of those bathroom scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
Ooh, man.
where you say Candyman in the mirror. I know I've tried that when I was a kid.
Candyman was probably one of the first films that I saw that I was like, holy shit, this is fucking me up, and I want to see more.
Yeah.
And like I remember being young and like, you go to the video store and stuff, and I'd see like things like Toolbox Murders, and I'd see the cover.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I want to get it, I want to get it, I want to get it. And then like when I got the chance to get it, I was like, they were like, you really want to get it? I'll get it. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, man.
I kind of don't want to watch it, but I got to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's strange, because we're from two different worlds, but we had sort of the same kind of upbringing. Like I remember being a kid, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with there was a series in the 90s on HBO, Tales from the Crypt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember being like maybe 5 or 6 years old, and that the intro would come on where it's going through the creepy mansion and down into the crypt, and I would go run behind the couch and I would keep peeking my head out because I was scared, but I also realized at that time it was kind of fun being scared, it makes you feel alive.
That's it. Like, I mean, people ask me, like, even like grandparents and stuff, they're like, why do you like that? Like, it's, it's sick, it's disgusting, blah blah. And I don't know how to explain it. It's just what I like. It's just like, for me, it's all I think about. Is all I think about is like stuff to do with horror, like drawings, ideas, watching movies, listening to podcasts, researching stuff, actual real life stories, going to the movies to see them. It's just like a constant loop. Like the special effects, the makeup, the masks, everything is just like an obsession. 24/7.
And people that don't get it, it's obviously something that gets ingrained in your DNA at a young age, I feel like, because even people that just decide to jump into it, I don't feel like it's still not the same for those people. It's something that you have to be obsessed with at a young age. You have to lose sleep for several years thinking that Freddy Krueger is going to come get you in your dreams.
I think you're very right about that. I remember being young and like I go to sleep at night. I'd want to watch these movies, and then as soon as they were over, I was sorry.
Yeah.
It was time to go to bed, and I remember lying there at night, like awake for hours at night, seeing these clown faces and shit popping up in the dark, and being convinced that I could see like giant heads of clowns and shit like coming towards me. And then like the next night it'd be the same thing again. I'd try to find something else to watch and do it again.
Oh shit! A lot of sleepless nights, dude. I know the feeling.
Man.
I know it's hard to give a top 5, but just right off the top of your head, what would you say would be your top 5 horror films of all time?
Top 5. Let me think. Oh, this is in like no particular order now. I'll just give you 5 I can think of.
Okay.
Some of these now people will probably give me shit for saying them, but I do like cheesy slashers and stuff like that as well.
Oh hell yeah, the B movie horror films, those are good.
My Bloody Valentine is up there.
The original or the remake?
The original and the remake. Even when I went to see the remake, we got a brand new movie theater in our town, and it was the first digital movie theater in Ireland, and it had the 3D and shit. And like that was like unheard of over here. And like we got that, and that was the first horror movie to come out in 3D. And I think I went to see that like 15 times.
Oh wow!
I was like bringing everybody to go. Come on, we gotta go check this out. Gotta go check this out. And every time it seemed to get better for me. I was just watching the crowd and hearing everybody fucking freak out. I was like, oh, this is what I like. This is why I like horror.
Yeah, but I remember one of my favorite parts in that movie was where he took the shovel and stabbed the guy in the throat, and his head slid onto the shovel.
Slid off the thing, yeah. I remember watching everybody's reaction when he comes out in the mine and he throws the pickaxe.
Oh yeah,
and it goes through the windscreen, and like watching everybody, and it was so crazy because everyone was so pumped up after it. Like people who you knew didn't like horror were like leaving, going, "Oh, that was so good! It was so much fun," and like laughing because I don't care what anyone says. The two things you'll always hear is, you'll have your screams, but it's always followed by laughing. It's always by enjoyment. Like you'll rarely see people who will, scream and then cry and hate and never want to see it again. Most people will scream and then afterwards laugh, especially if they're with friends and stuff.
And I mean, it still happens to me. Even a calloused, scary movie watcher. I still get jump scares every once in a while, and it cracks you up, man.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I like, kind of movies like that and stuff. Now, I don't want to last while. Wait, I'm going completely off topic. My Bloody Valentine. I guess Halloween's got to be in there.
Sure.
The Blair Witch Project was one for me.
Really?
I think years ago, before the internet became a big thing, it seemed so much more real. The whole idea of it. Now, obviously, it's completely that whole found footage thing is like completely destroyed. You've got films coming out every day that are found footage, but I think back then, maybe not so much anymore, but back then, that movie used to and there's there's no blood, there's no anything. I think it was just more so the idea. It was what I dreamt up in my head that was out there was scarier to me than what I was actually looking at.
Yeah, and that is one too that you bring up and people will be like, come on, that's not really that great of a movie. But whenever you did, I was the same way. Whenever I watched it, it was good, and it was a huge success, and it was scary.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't cost them a lot of money to make either, man. It was pretty brilliant on their part.
Yeah, that movie made huge money as far as I know. I think didn't they make that on a couple of 100,000?
Yeah, there was hardly any production value, and they didn't have obviously any big stars because that would have given it away a lot sooner. But yeah, it was all profit.
Yeah, which is insane. I think it was what was it, 500,000 budget, and it made 200, 300 million.
Yeah,
which is just, and that was in the 90s. So I mean, that was unheard of. So you've got My Bloody Valentine, Halloween. I'll go with the Blair Witch, even though it's not a favorite of mine now. It was back then. Scream will have to be another one. The Scream series, not any 4 I could leave out, but 1 to 3 for me would be some of my favorite movies.
And yeah, well, Wes Craven obviously, but to me, Scream was sort of a breath of fresh air because there was so much shit that was coming out, at that time period.
Yeah, man. And when Scream came out, it was what is this? And it seemed, so possible. I think that's why everybody got so caught up in it. It seemed it could be a real thing. It wasn't out of the question that there could be some, a serial killer. There could be people like that.
Oh, definitely.
Compared to things like Freddy Krueger, let's say, which, is obviously a little bit more fictional. I guess Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street's a given, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Wes Craven, for me, seems to be one of the better. He's produced a lot of he's made a lot of films that I would like to watch over and over and over again. I mean, well, I've got a lot really. Top 5 it's hard to say, but obviously the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is up there, and there's a couple of others. But yeah, no, I think I'd stick with that. Maybe I'd swap out the Blair Witch with maybe the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, it sounds about like me. It's just whatever day of the week you catch me on, I'll have a different top 5.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was going through your website, man, and I love your well, it's the top 10s basically, but they're not all 10 movies. Some of them are different. It really just depends. But I love how you break it down through genres, really, of different types of movies for people that want to get into the horror genre but haven't yet. Mm-hmm. The one that I saw, and I'm sure that anybody that gets on your website and you probably get feedback, hey, how come this one wasn't on there? The zombie list, man, one of my favorites of all time was the Lucio Fulci zombie movie. The original. Is there a reason that didn't make it on, or was it just a?
To be honest, and this is gonna sound really bad now.
Yeah.
for from people like myself or anyone who's interested in horror, I think I was trying more so to cater to things that maybe people who didn't really have an open mind to horror were going to like. Now, I know I put things like Night of the Living Dead in there, and I think Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that, but I tried to kind of cater it more so towards, the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which I think, pretty much say, you've got say guys who make their girlfriends watch a horror movie.
Okay.
They would probably much rather make them watch Dawn of the Dead remake than make them watch Zombie.
Okay, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from now.
That was kind of what, now, in hindsight, Zombie probably would have been the first one I would have put on it. other than the fact that I think a lot of people just, I don't even know through ignorance, but like just through not having any interest or, looking into anything further, wouldn't appreciate it, would just look at it and go, oh, what was that?
Right, and you also do you put on there the people that are just getting into it, they shouldn't jump right into the grindhouse, some of the 70s grittier movies because you're right, a lot of those are kind of a lot harder watches really unless you're really into what's going on, but some of them are difficult to sit through if you're just starting out.
Yeah, even I found that with some movies like I remember watching some movies a couple of years ago even and thinking, yeah, don't know. And, you kind of feel like you should like it, but you're going, yeah, I don't really know if I was that into that.
Yeah.
But I think, I guess everyone has their own opinion. But I do find sometimes, like, if there's someone who's, trying to get into horror or anything, if I force something like that on them, they're like, nah, that's garbage. I don't want to see. See, I think now the problem is everybody wants to see things like Paranormal Activity, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, and I was going to ask you too about how you feel about the genre today, and I can't say much. I mean, there are some good saving grace movies that come out, maybe once a year, but for the most part, what horror movies are today, I'm not really impressed.
No, me either. I don't know. I just feel like that now it's becoming just a cash in. It's just studios will take on anything that they think that will appeal to teenagers or whoever. Like the Paranormal Activity franchise now has just become when the first movie came out, I kind of went, "That's a cool idea." Maybe we should leave it there.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it now? Paranormal Activity 5?
I wouldn't be surprised if you said 8, to be honest with you, because it seems like it.
It's like I went to see the last one. It's the marked ones or whatever it's called. And it was just the same thing as the first 4 or 5, and then at the end, just a different ending. I mean, every movie that they've done has had the same template. The whole movie, it's like, oh look, that bumped. Oh look, that moved when I left the room. And then the last 10 minutes are like insane. There's like shit flying through walls and then
the footage gets lost all of a sudden, and then it's over.
Yeah, and then it's just the camera drops on the floor or something, like the Blair Witch Project, and it goes, oh, everyone was never seen again, and wait till next year, wait till next Halloween, we'll have another one. But recently I went to see As Above, So Below.
Okay, yeah, I was. How did that turn out?
I enjoyed it. I was very surprised. I honestly, I thought going into it, I was like, here we go, another found footage thing.
And that's the one about the catacombs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I'm like intrigued by the Paris catacombs. But I really liked the idea of it. It was, I would say to anyone who was thinking about going to see it or wants to see it, it's not strictly horror. It's not, there's a kind of aspect of like, like say The Mummy, or I don't want to say Indiana Jones because it's not like that, but there is kind of like an exploration, archaeology kind of side to it, which was really interesting. Like my girlfriend is by no means that into horror, but she really enjoyed this movie, which I was surprised by. She was like, it was so interesting. I got caught up in the story, and then the horror just kind of fell into place and made it exciting.
Sure. Well, yeah, just the story of the catacombs in Paris is interesting. For anybody that hasn't heard about that, it's basically just an entire underground, I guess you could call it like a cave, basically, that's made up of human bones, and it's all intricately built, and some parts of it are kind of beautiful, but it's all kind of creepy.
Yeah, like as far as I don't know if this is the real story, but as far as the movie is concerned, it's apparently the Philosopher's Stone was meant to be buried somewhere in the catacombs. And as far as I know, the catacombs are like 2,000 miles long, throughout the whole city, and then there's meant to be areas that are blocked off and things like that. I don't really know the entire story.
It definitely sounds like it's the movie to go see right now. I guess of the horror genre, it's the movie to go check out.
Yeah.
Are you a collector of DVDs or VHS or?
I am. Now recently I done a massive. I kind of got rid of a lot of things, but I kept everything that was horror. I guess I have. Let me see. Maybe close to 350, 400 DVDs.
Oh, nice.
But every single one of them is horror. And I'm one of those people as well. I'll buy an edition of something, and then if I see another edition with a cool cover, I'll buy that as well.
Yeah.
Some of the cool ones I have are I've got the original Nightmare on Elm Street box set, the first one that came out.
Oh, the one that it has the Nightmare Encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I got that one too. That's a very awesome one. That the encyclopedia that's its own disc. It's sort of almost like a game where you can find hidden.
It's weird.
That's pretty awesome.
I've got probably my favorite one would be the I've got the Phantasm Sphere, and it has the DVDs inside. It's like on a big. You can take it out of the box and it sits on a stand.
I've seen pictures of that, man. It's a pretty rare find.
Yeah, that one that I had to get. I bought that from another collector in England. I couldn't find it anywhere. Mm-hmm. It was like impossible to find. No, I did pay a pretty penny for it.
Sure, I can imagine.
Yeah, and then probably my other favorite one would again the Blair Witch Project, but it's like the collector's edition one. It came with like the Blair Witch novel.
Oh wow!
The collector's DVD. Yeah, I had never seen it before. It comes in like this black box with the Blair Witch symbol on the front.
Now, are you Region 2, or do you also just have a Region 1 player? Or
I have a Region 1 player as well.
Okay.
Because when I go, to family in New York and stuff, when I see all the other editions, it used to send me into a frenzy. So I just bought a Region 1 DVD player as well, just so I could watch them.
That's I need to invest in a Region 2 player, because obviously I can watch them on my Mac, but I'd like to watch them on the big screen really. There was a Region 2. Well, first of all, is the Freddy's Nightmares. I know they released a Region 2 of that, but we've never got one in America. And
oh, really?
Yeah, no, there's no Freddy's Nightmares TV show release in America.
It's funny you mention it, because about 2-3 weeks ago, I bought the first release of that.
Really?
Yeah, it's another one though that's kind of hard to get. I couldn't be found, and again I had to private message a collector, and he was like, "Yeah, I've got a copy, blah blah." But like trying to get it through a store was next to impossible.
Now, is it like the season, or is it the first 3 episodes?
I think it's the first 3. I just want to double check, but I think it's only the first 3.
Yeah, I downloaded really shitty quality. I have both seasons on my computer, but it's really shitty quality, and I'd love to have a DVD, season 1 and 2.
Yeah, no, it is the first 3. I don't know I never actually checked to see if that could be got over here, or if I had to source it through somebody else. But yeah, the downloads and stuff, man, for that are awful.
Oh yeah, I know it's shitty quality, but you got to take what you can get.
Exactly. I done that with Tales from the Crypt, the Demon Knight movie. And the download I got, man, was just it was horrific. It was like unwatchable.
That's I have that one on DVD. Another one that I got that was not released in America, and I'm a huge fan of the anthology TV shows, like anything from Tales from the Crypt to Tales from the Dark Side to Hammer House of Horror, anything that's like anthology based. One of the shows was Darkroom, and it's from the 80s. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one.
I've heard of it. I might have seen it once or twice, but nothing. I wouldn't say I'm well versed in it.
Sure. Well, it's a hard one to find. I was able to buy actually a Region 4 from Australia, and ripped them onto my computer, and then I burned them onto Region 1. But if you get the chance, and I think that they have them on YouTube also, there are some really good episodes, man. You should check that out.
I think I've seen 1 or 2 of them. I think now I'm gonna go on a limb here and say this, but was Billy Crystal in that once?
Yeah. That's there's an episode where he found this makeup box, and he put it on, and it made him strong. It was an actor's makeup box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I have seen that show actually. That's one I must tab and watch some episodes. Mm-hmm. That looks like a cool show, man.
Oh, it definitely is, and I don't know why they won't fucking release them.
Release it, I know. And that's one thing I have to say that I like about is it Shout Factory or Scream Factory? I don't know which.
Shout Factory. Whenever they release their scary movies, I think they change the name just for effect and call it Scream Factory.
I like what they're doing, man. I think that's awesome that they re-release the older stuff in Blu-ray and things like that. I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah, they I just picked up the Video Dead. It was the Blu-ray, and that was the first time that was ever released.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, that's what, 80s, late 80s.
Yeah,
The cover for that, man. I love the cover with the is it with the zombie climbing through the TV?
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
have you seen that movie before?
I had a long time ago, kind of.
It's incredibly cheesy, and that's something that I like about it. But it's for people that haven't seen it. It's basically a haunted TV where zombies climb out of the TV. So screams
It's an awesome
80s.
movie. But again, if you are afraid of cheesy movies or anything, don't watch it.
Well, while we're on the subject of DVD releases, I'm guessing you've heard of this Halloween Ultimate box set that's coming out here in the States September 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you're going to look into maybe picking up, or?
More than likely, because, well, I think, when did you say it was coming out? September?
Here it's set for the release this month on the 23rd.
23rd. I'll probably pick that up. Well, I don't know. Do you think that'll be something that will be pre-ordered so much that it'll be unavailable?
I don't think, I mean, obviously Amazon's accepting pre-orders. I don't think it's going to sell out, but I think the price point is $120 over here, so I'm not sure what that would be over in your neck of the woods.
Well, you see, I'll be actually in Orlando from a week of Tuesday, so I'll probably be there for the release, which I guess if I can get my hands on it, if I see it,
sure,
I'll be bringing it home with me.
Yeah, well, it looks. First of all, I mean, I have all of the DVDs, but just having them in one beautiful box set would be awesome. And it says that they're saying that it has a never before seen producer's cut of Halloween 6, which I'm not sure what that is. Halloween
is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the producer's cut is like 20 minutes long of Halloween 6 because that movie wasn't the greatest.
But again, it's something that more than likely I think that comes out the day I fly, the 23rd. I think if that's the same day, that's the day I fly. It's a Tuesday.
There you go, man.
Yeah, more than likely, I guess I could pick that up at Best Buy or somewhere, right?
Best Buy, I mean, they might have the box set over there. Best Buy over here is, they've really dwindled down on their DVD sales here lately. But for a big box set like that, you might be able to find it there. I know they have the big Friday the 13th one that came out like last year.
Yeah, I see that. You'd be surprised, man, that the price of the DVDs and Blu-rays with you guys, even with the exchange rate, is still a lot cheaper than here.
Really?
Like, we get, let me see, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the new one that came out?
Uh-huh.
That came out here last week or the week before. And it came out and it was €30 just for the standard, Blu-ray or whatever, which just for one disc is that's like $40, I think, $38, $39 just for like a single disc Blu-ray of a new release. Is that like common?
Not for for a new Blu-ray here, that would be probably about $16. And if it was like, if you're paying that much money, I recently dropped that on like the Criterion Blu-ray of Rosemary's Baby. That will still cost you about $40, but just for a run-of-the-mill Blu-ray, that's pretty high.
Yeah, that's like I have no problem paying money for things like that, as you said, like the Rosemary's Baby thing and stuff like that. But just for like a one disc, pretty much no special features, Spider-Man 2 Blu-ray, and it's like $39.
That's why the market's kind of going downhill for discs, and downloads are becoming more and more relevant every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you said that you're coming down to Orlando. What's going on in Orlando?
I'm going to Orlando for 2 weeks to Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Studios.
Now, okay, I'm a huge fan of Universal Studios. I've been there. I always go in the summer, and I've heard a lot about Halloween Horror Nights. Is this going to be your first time going there, or is it something you do,
It's not. It's going to be my second year going.
Nice.
I went last year as well. I've been watching Halloween Horror Nights for years, and it was something that I always looked at and went, oh, I'd love to get there. I'd love to, but it always seemed so far away. It was like, I'm never going to get there.
Hmm.
I might as well just forget about it. And then 2 years ago, I was like, right, that's it. I have to go. So I just saved and saved and saved, and we went last year. We went for, I think it was 8 days. So we done, I think Halloween Horror Nights runs Thursday through Sundays. So we got like 4 nights, and it was literally the greatest experience of my life.
Oh, nice,
I
man.
cannot explain to anybody, including yourself, who likes horror in any capacity. It is the closest thing you can get to being inside a movie with everything, like literally, even to posters in the windows down to a T. It is incredible.
Oh,
It
man.
is worth every penny. I mean, I travel 5,000 miles, but we have to stop over in England. Last year we had to fly to New York, and then from New York down. It took us like 17, 18 hours to get there. It was worth everything.
It's definitely something I want to check out, man, because with it just being at Universal, how many classic horror movies were Universal movies, you know? They have the rights
Exactly.
to so many of the best ones.
Exactly. And I think people forget that. I mean, a lot of the stuff they do is they're not paying for licensing or anything because Universal owns the rights to, like, I guess a good 50% of any kind of horror titles or anything like that.
Yeah, and ones that just defined horror, like, you know, Frankenstein and The
Hmm.
Wolfman and Dracula, those are all Universal movies.
And like it's just so crazy to see the like obviously I wasn't there, but I mean it's the 24th year this year. And I mean, I think it started in 1991 and I think it was just one haunted house and it was like a weekend event, so it was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday and that was it, it was over. And I mean, now it runs for 28 nights. It's got 8 houses, 6 scare zones. It's like, insane compared to what it was 20 years ago.
Sounds like the place to be for a horror fan. I know that it's definitely one that you hear about everywhere. The
Yeah,
one to
like
be at.
it's as I said, like, people go, is it that good? It's like, do you really think now that I would travel, 5, 6,000 miles, spend all this money? Because it's not cheap to get to Orlando from Wexford and then stay there for 2 weeks, just for this. If it wasn't, you get what you're paying for.
Um,
I mean, everything, merchandise, everything is down to a T. It's perfect. And even the way they treat you. Like last year, we met the creative director for Halloween Horror Nights, Michaelo, and he was just so nice. The way he was talking to us, and he asked me about the site, and he was talking to me and telling me about the process of everything and how it works and how they come up with the ideas, and just to have that, even the way you see him speak to the fans and stuff, it makes it worthwhile.
yeah, I can imagine, dude. I can definitely imagine that you drop a lot of money. I road tripped down to Universal Studios over the summer and drove straight through. It was about maybe a 12, 14 hour drive, but just driving, I spent so much fucking money, man.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
and especially like that's why I try and make sure to bring as much money as possible because I know once I get there, and once I get caught up in the whole thing, I'm looking at T-shirts, I'm looking at
Yeah.
this, I'm looking at that. I'm like, oh man, I won't be able to get this again. Once this event is over, it's gone.
Oh, you're gonna want to buy everything.
Yeah, and that's what I done last year. I mean, they had they had T-shirts for each house and things like that, and like I had to buy one of each.
Hmm.
It was and even like small things like they had like little things for the Walking Dead and little statues and pop vinyl things that were exclusive to Halloween Horror Nights, and I found myself just going in and hoarding them. Just taking one of everything and putting it into the bag and saying, "Yeah, that's fine, that's fine." Hundreds of dollars worth of stuff.
Oh man, that's people like you and I though. We're suckers for that kind of shit. People can make a living off of us.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. My friends always say to me, "Oh man, you're the worst for hype. You're the worst for marketing. They love people like you." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Man, I can't help it. Like, I mean, I get there and I get it. It's in front of me and I want it, and that's it." And a lot of people are like that, and this is why things like Halloween Horror Nights are becoming a worldwide thing now. This is why, like, I've got a friend in England who I meet, like I'm going to meet this year again, I mean, he travels from Manchester in England, and like he brings like last year he was out there with his brother, his family, everybody went, and like he found that now he went to the event every night, but they wanted to actually go and see what it was as well. Which and he said it was strange for him because they're not interested in that, and like they were like, what is all this about? What is all this about? Blah blah, and like they went with him and they loved it.
So it's fun for everybody, really, even if you're not a huge horror movie fan.
Pretty much, like I would say, like if you were younger, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Or if you had a bad heart or anything, but other than that, I mean, it's fun, like and you're there with like-minded people, so it's nice to have a chat with people who are on the same wavelength about things and get their opinions and what they think about whatever.
It's definitely something that I'm going to look into doing. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but if I go next year, I will definitely get in touch with you. Maybe you'll be down at the same time. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I plan on making a trip next year. Next year is a big year for them, I think. It's the 25th anniversary.
Oh, wow. That would be the time to go then also.
Yeah, definitely. So I think next year, as far as I know, is like the year to go.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I'm going to have to mark it on my calendar then. Definitely got to do it. It's now or
you've
never.
You've got they run for 2 months nearly, so you've got a nice window there to get down there.
I'm definitely going to look into that. All right. Well, hey, listen, man, we've been talking for nearly an hour, if you can believe it at this point.
Really?
Yeah. It's nearly.
Doesn't feel like that.
It sure doesn't, especially whenever you're nerding out with somebody about horror movies.
I know, right?
I have a couple more things I just wanted to ask you about. Have you heard of the Leprechaun Origins remake that's coming out?
I've seen it.
You watched it?
I did.
I didn't even know it was out already.
No, it is.
I didn't. I'm not expecting much from it, especially it's a WWE movie. What were your takes on that?
Not very good ones. Okay. I have the original Leprechaun box set, the ones with Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
Which, now, don't get me wrong, those are cheesy movies, and by no means, the stories and stuff aren't well developed. But I enjoy them, they're cheesy,
Oh, they're classics.
Yeah. This movie, man, I don't want to give away too much, but it's just, I don't know, you don't really see the Leprechaun, and he's not like the ones from the originals. He doesn't talk. He doesn't, that kind of funny, kind of like Freddy Krueger style.
That was something that was also missing in the new Nightmare movie. Also,
yeah.
Not to go off topic here, but it definitely is who's portraying the villain.
Yeah, I can appreciate what is it, Jackie
Earle Haley.
Yeah, I can appreciate his take on it, but and whoever their take on it at that time, but I think Freddy is always going to be Robert Englund. It's always going to be that kind of funny but scary Freddy.
No doubt.
And the same with Leprechaun. I don't know if you've seen any of the screenshots in the movie. He doesn't even look like a leprechaun.
Well, I've been a wrestling fan also, and I have seen there's a little person wrestler named Hornswoggle.
Yes.
And that's who they used, of course, because it's a WWE made movie. He's the little person. Why not put him in the Leprechaun movie, I guess. I personally don't think he is a very good fit for that role.
No, it just
outside of his stature, of course.
But he doesn't talk or anything. He just grunts. There is no talking. There's no interaction between him and the victims or whatever.
Yeah.
And even the way he looks, I should know what a leprechaun looks like. He doesn't look like what a leprechaun is supposed to look like. Now, it's kind of a cool take on it, but at the same time, as I said, I think that that kind of fun aspect is gone from it, and they went really serious, and it didn't work. If it had worked, if it seemed as scary as it was supposed to, then I would have said it was a great idea, but it just didn't hit what they were trying to hit.
My immediate take when I saw the trailer and the fact that it was a WWE production was they were looking for something that they could release this time of year, and they were looking for a franchise that hasn't been rebooted in a while, and that's where they came out with Leprechaun, and I didn't really think it was going to be that great.
Yeah, I think maybe in their heads or on paper maybe it seemed like something that could have worked. It could have, but they just didn't execute, what was supposed to be I guess, a brilliant reboot. Or
Yeah. Brilliant by no means, I
yeah,
guess. Okay.
it's worth a watch just to see. But I wouldn't go in with any great expectations.
As you wouldn't for any WWE movie.
No, I think, aren't they making a sequel to See No Evil with Kane?
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like coming soon.
Yeah.
Which looks awful as well.
Well, okay, and that also, there was one other question I had for you here, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. If you had to pick a most underrated horror movie and a most overrated, and that's kind of a tough one to just drop on you all of a sudden here.
Let me think.
And while you're thinking, I actually have two right here that I could give you of mine.
Yeah.
For me, by far, the most underrated I feel is House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes, that is possibly my favorite movie ever.
Oh, dude, same here. And I love anything Rob Zombie does.
Yeah.
I mean, Lords of Salem wasn't great, but I definitely went and saw it, and I would go see anything he put out. But I feel like House of a Thousand Corpses gets so much shit.
Yep.
And it's a great movie.
That movie, man. Even like people say to me, yeah, but it's kind of like this weird kind of, family Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing, and then, I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but then they go underground and it's something else, and I was like, yeah, but that's, you just don't appreciate what it is.
Yeah.
That to me was the best part.
With the Wicked Surgeon and Dr. Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That movie is great. That is probably one, I said top 5 movies. Blair Witch is gone. House of a Thousand Corpses has to be in there, man. I have like 5 copies of that movie, I think.
Yep. I have, I definitely have the Blu-ray and I have the DVD. I think I have 2 DVDs of it, actually.
Oh, it's such a great movie, man. And I'd be the same. Anything that Rob Zombie brings out, like, I think he's got a new movie. Well, I think it's on Kickstarter, is it? 31.
I haven't read about that, but
I think there's something coming out. It's something to do with clowns. I didn't look too much into it, but I'll definitely check that out. As soon as that's out.
He's one of the best directors, the horror directors today.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like that he done was the part 2 of the Halloween thing.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of it, but just some of the aspects of it I found a bit strange.
Well, the fact that he he changed the whole backstory really in the way it ended, and he just crammed, like 4 movies into one.
Yeah.
But
and like I think originally wasn't he supposed to get a third movie as well, Halloween 3D?
Yeah, I think that was the idea.
And then I think after the second one,
kind of flopped.
Yeah.
But it's still a decent watch for what it is if you can just take out the everything you know about Michael Myers.
That would probably be my most underrated movie as well. Would be House of a Thousand Corpses, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. For me, some of my overrated, and I get shit for this, but it's just not really my favorite style of movie, are like the 21 Days Later, the newer zombie movies that are like the super fast in your face kind of zombies.
Yeah, I like those movies, but again, there's something I just watch as, kind of, oh, that's cool. They're not, they don't have me going, oh, I love this movie. It's just, for me, it's something to watch because, I like things like Resident Evil. I just watch it because it has some form of zombie.
Yeah.
Another one that I thought that everybody went on about when it came out that I didn't like was World War Z.
Oh, the Brad Pitt movie. Yeah. I still haven't watched that one, honestly. And that was based on that book by Mel Brooks' son, Max Brooks. Yeah.
Yep. That for me wasn't like, it was okay, but it was too long. It was too drawn out. It was lackluster. I think they tried to make it huge, and it just wasn't. It didn't hit the mark.
Yeah, that was one I just didn't really, care to watch it. I was
the same, man. It was like, I think they thought, all Brad Pitt in this movie, and we'll give it loads of production. It's gonna work. It didn't.
Well, the book was a huge success, but yeah, the movie kind of didn't turn out as planned.
Yeah, Shutter Island was like that for me. I enjoyed the book, and in the movie, I was kind of yeah.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from there. The movie kind of ran a little too long, I thought.
Yeah, I think sometimes like I don't know why, but maybe because they try cram so much in and then they make them really long and it just ruins. You know, you kind of get like I found myself with World War Z. I got bored of watching the movie. It was like it was like an hour and a half in, and I was like, Jesus, this movie needs to be over. And it's like over 2 hours long.
Oh man, and that's something that in Shutter Island also. That's something that Brad Pitt or Leo DiCaprio can't fix. You get to
Exactly.
you get to a spot and they can't act their way out of that.
Yeah, exactly. When it's just like, you like that's a bad sign when you've got a movie and when the scene ends and you go, yes, the movie's over.
Yeah.
And then another scene starts and you go,
that's the crossing and the line in the sand where okay, it's gone on too long. Man, those are really the questions that I had here. Outside of the fact that on your website, I kind of had an idea. Also, I think that you should put a list of Stephen King adaptations.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, because there are several amazing Stephen King movies that are out there that would be it'd be cool for people that haven't really checked them out to know which ones are good and which ones kind of aren't so good.
I have, well, I wouldn't say a question, but have you ever seen Storm of the Century?
I have not seen Storm of the Century, but that's funny that you asked because I recently picked it up. I recently picked up the DVD, and I am going to be watching it very soon. In fact, the entire month of October, I just completely everything I watch is horror movies. That's sort of my Halloween tradition here.
Nice.
And that's on the list.
Yeah, no, because that like again, a lot of people give me shit about that movie, but I really enjoy that movie. Now, again, it's long, but for me, it does it right. It's done. It has the right balance of everything. It keeps me interested. Whereas, like, things like World War Z, it just, I don't know. For me, it just didn't hold my attention long enough. I just wanted it to be over.
Stephen King movies are, a lot of them at least, are notoriously cheesy. But they are all done really well. Like. You go back and watch The Langoliers, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is this a great movie I need to watch? But after you watch it, and then you watch it maybe again and maybe a third time, it's a good movie. It's just super cheesy.
Yeah. Like, and a lot of his movies are like that. I mean, even if you go back and look at the likes of It, there's a lot of stuff in that, that's like cringeworthy.
Yeah.
But like it's that thing like Tim Curry as It was just you would never picture, when you look at Tim Curry and you look at it doesn't look, it's just crazy to think.
That's one of the best too, in my opinion, man. Just Tim Curry, hey Georgie.
Yeah. He's just like, and then you see him in things like Scary Movie 2.
Yeah.
And it's just like recently I was watching that with my girlfriend, like, and she said something about It the Clown or something about Stephen King or something, and I was like, yeah, that dude there is the dude that plays Pennywise, and she was like, no, it's not, and I was like, it is. I was like, that's him. Man,
blow her mind and pop in Rocky Horror Picture Show and show
funny.
her. Yeah,
it's funny you mention that, right? I love, now this is probably gonna ruin all my credit and respect I've got from anybody.
Okay.
I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. Universal do a show called Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it's like a musical show.
Mm-hmm.
And like I went last year and I loved it. And like so I was telling her this year, she's coming with me. I was like, we have to go. I have to see this again. And she was just like, oh my God, what is wrong with you?
You don't lose any credibility here, man. A couple of years back, I went to it was like a shitty art house, really low budget actors doing like a Broadway type play in just a really small theater. And I watched them do a rendition of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And,
nice.
And that's something that fans have had as well. It's like you're watching it and people know when, the audience interacts, when to say certain things. It's just sort of a fun thing, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie also.
Yeah. I know it's a musical. It kind of is what it is, but it's cool. Like it captivated people back then, and I think it kind of holds its place.
And the thing that makes a musical like that so popular is the fact that it's got fucking really awesome music too.
Exactly. Music that's catchy, and it's something that anybody, that listens to it, anyone I've ever seen listen to it, you'll see them nodding their head or tapping their feet and stuff. It's just that kind of music.
Aaron, I feel like we could sit here and talk all night.
I know.
This
podcast could be like 5 hours long.
Because there's still so much shit that we haven't even talked about, man. But
I know. We should do this again once I get back from Halloween Horror Nights.
I would definitely like to do that because I would like to hear. I'd like to hear firsthand,
Yeah. No, because I'd be interested to talk to somebody again about obviously everything horror. Maybe the next time your co-host or whatever will be here and get like the three of us talking or whatever.
Yeah, well, now that's something that we've been working on because my co-host, he recently moved to Germany. He lives in a village over in Germany now, and we haven't figured out a three-way Skype thing. I'm not too familiar with really the way Skype works outside of just making a one-to-one phone call, but I don't know if they start charging you whenever you do a three-way.
No, as far as I know, you can add in, you just add participants and you can add in a third person.
So that's okay. That's something that we need to look into because he's just as big of a nerd as you and I about this kind of stuff. So
no, I'd definitely love to come back in a couple of weeks once I get back from Orlando, because I'd like to have a chat about everything that went on.
Most definitely, man. That sounds great. So we'll plan that. In the meantime, everybody, check out Aaron's website, which is firstclasshorror.wordpress.com. And you can also check him out on Twitter at @class_horror.
Or on Facebook at /firstclasshorror.
All right. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Check it out. He's got a really awesome website, and I got sucked in immediately just reading all the top 10 lists. Nice. And it's, definitely some cool stuff happening over there.
It's a work in progress. Hopefully once I get back from America again, we're going to knuckle down and I'm going to make an actual website. It's not going to be a blog anymore. We're going to get a website up and running. So it's
a lot of work, man. That's sort of what we were faced with here, and it's definitely a work in progress.
Yeah.
But we'll look forward to that, and I'll look forward to talking with you again, Aaron.
Me too, man. Me too.
All right, safe traveling to you, dude. And we are going to take a short break, and we will be back on CSP.
America, America? Is it our ethnic heritage, our glorious human tapestry? Is it our religious heritage of spiritual freedom, our political heritage, democracy itself? No, it's our television heritage, preserved every night on Nick at Night.
The richest, most rewarding heritage a man can have.
These shows have made Americans what we are and will determine what we shall become. Nick at Night is preserving our precious television heritage.